happy. Happy. Very happy.
Yeah, we will start opening prayers. Om Antarjyotiः Bahirjyotiः Pratyakjyotiः Paratpara Jyotirev Jyotiः Swayam Jyotiः Atmajyotiः Shivosmyaham Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayana Samarambhat Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Sadashiva Samarambhat Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Hari Om to all the JJs and the observers present here. Today our discussion session is on Jivan Mukta, Videha Mukta and the characteristics of the Jivan Mukta. So we'll be starting the session with Sumaji, who will be presenting about the Sthita Prajna Lakshana from the Bhagavad Gita. And the timer for the session is Gayatri Ji. It's minimum 6 minutes, right, Purnima Ji? Okay, 6 minutes, Gayatri Ji.
Should I start?
Yeah,
Yes.
Suma. Yeah, is it fine?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
let's
sure.
start. Shall I start?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hari Om to all Atma Jyotis. My topic for today is Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna in Sanskrit means contented, calm, and firm in judgment and wisdom. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, shloka 56, we have Dukkeshu Anudvigna Manaha, Sukheshu Vigata Spruhaha, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodhaha, Sthitadhir Munir Uchyate. The meaning of this shloka is one whose mind remains undisturbed in sorrow, who does not crave for pleasure, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called sage of steady wisdom. So what are the characteristics of Sthita Prajna? From the shloka, the mind of the Sthita Prajna is not troubled by the sorrows of life. He is not affected by the threefold miseries, Adhyatmika, misery caused internally, and Adibhautika and Adidaivika, the external miseries. For this, the example is a story of Prahalada, Lord Vishnu devotee. His unwavering faith and devotion to Lord Vishnu angered his father Hiranyakashipu, who attempted various methods to make Prahalada to stop worshipping Vishnu. But Prahalada had to go through a lot of external suffering, like he was asked to drink poison, thrown in a pit of snakes, etc. But he never gave up his firm faith on Lord Vishnu. And the next characteristic of the Sthita Prajna is the Sthita Prajna does not hanker after the pleasures of body and senses. He is not thrown off his self state when pleasant and delight things come to him. Pain or pleasure are just like two different waves. One wave is called pleasure and another is called pain. Both are caused by the contact of the mind with external object. If the object is agreeable, then he experiences the wave of pleasure, but if it is undesirable, then he'll experience the wave of pain. So the Sthita Prajna, whose mind is firmly established in Atma, is not moved one way or the other when pleasant or unpleasant things happens to him. So the third characteristic of Sthita Prajna is free from attachment, fear, and hatred. For this, like I have like very small stories. So the first story is Angry Man Spitting on Buddha. I came across this in that every day Prabhuji sends all these stories, so Sadhguru teaching. So in that I came across this. So Gautama Buddha was sitting under a tree talking to his disciples when a man comes and spits on his face. So he wipes off his face and he will ask the man, what next? What do you want to say next? But this man was little puzzled because he never expected that when you spit on somebody's face, he will ask you what's next. He had no such experience in the past and he had insulted many people and they had all reacted. But Buddha was neither angry nor offended. He was very calm. There was no reaction on Buddha's part. When this man returned home that night, he could not sleep, and next day he came back to Buddha and asked for his forgiveness. Eventually, this man became one of Buddha's followers, learning ways of peace and compassion. And then the second story is a story of Jada Bharata from Bhagavatam, where after giving the body of deer, Bharata took birth in Brahmana's family. By the Lord's mercy, Bharata could remember all his past lives. In order to avoid fall down, he acted like a madman, while internally he remained always thinking of Lord Vishnu. So everyone thought he was dull and dumb. The leader of dacoits, desiring a son, planned to worship goddess Bhadrakali by offering her a dull man in sacrifice. So no fear or anger arose in Jadabharata when the dacoit king took him to the deity of Devi Kali as human sacrifice. But eventually goddess Kali protected Jadabharata from this sacrifice. And the third story is a story of Sri Ramana Maharshi's response to the thief who entered his ashram with a weapon. Instead of reacting with fear or anger, Sri Ramana Maharshi remained completely calm and disturbed. He offered this thief some money, saying, "This is all I have, take it." And the thief was struck by Ramana Maharshi's serene presence. And the thief felt very remorse and fell at his feet seeking forgiveness. The thief was deeply moved by Ramana's compassion and wisdom, and he left transformed. So I would like to conclude with Sthita Prajna refers to a person with steady intelligence and inner balance. This person is not affected by life's ups and downs and is neither overjoyed by victories nor crushed by defeat. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sumaji. Any questions for Sumaji? I think Jayashree ji is not there in today's session.
Anyone can ask.
Sumaji, how does knowing the Sthita Prajna qualities help us?
See, even in our daily day-to-day life, right? When we remain calm and especially like when bad incidents happen, that's where the Sthita Prajna qualities come actually. Like if you come across life incidents where it's very hard to face, if you remain like, okay, neither you're not affected by the sorrow or happy, okay, it's just a phase, it's going to pass through, that's fine. And it will also help you come out of the misery faster, actually. Yeah.
Have you experienced that in your...
Oh, yeah, a lot of times. Yeah, actually, I have a very good story. My husband, he doesn't believe too much in God or anything. So we went to the temple. Like, he'll come with me just to make me happy. He'll come to the temple. But one day we went to the temple and there was this Homa, and I am just little opposite to him. I just like sitting and watching all that energy and everything. So he just stayed in the temple little. Then after that, he was like, he couldn't understand Tamil language. We are Kannada people. So the priest was Tamil and he was explaining in Tamil a lot. And then he just went outside and he just sat in his car. Then at the end of Mangalarti, I told him to come. He's like, I'm not coming. It made me very upset actually. This happened recently because whole night I couldn't sleep actually. You came to the temple and you're not coming inside just to take the aarti but then next day I'm like, oh, whatever happens, okay, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Whether he comes inside or stays outside, it doesn't matter. So okay, that's what it was. So it really helped me actually. Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, thank you, Gayatri ji. Thank you, Sumaji. Sumaji, would you like to go with self-evaluation?
Yeah, I felt I did more of stories. I could have explained more of the Sthita Pragna itself, but I don't know. I couldn't find much, and all these stories fascinated me when I was doing the research, and it helped me understand more better. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sumaji. Yeah, but the shloka wasn't told, but all the characteristics was brought out beautifully through stories, and with passion what you were sharing the stories, we were also very into the story. So it was a good talk. Anything more?
Thank you.
Sumaji?
Yeah, it was perfectly fine. Stories told, they were they gave all the explanation about the Lakshana of the Sthita Pragna. So nice, Suma, very natural flow and very
Thank
confident.
you.
Yeah. And your personal growth also you have shared. So what else? Yeah, all is well. Good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sumaji. Thank you, Purnamaji. So the next speaker is Guruma Mamtaji, who will be talking about Jivan Mukta.
Shall I start? Shall I start now?
Timer, let the timer start. Yeah. Yes.
Hari Om all Atma Jyotis. The word Jivan Mukta is a fascinating word for a person who is in ignorance, who doesn't understand that that is the natural state. That is his own state. So without that knowledge, he keeps fascinated by that word. Now, what is this Jivan Mukti? Before we can understand what Jivan Mukti is all about, let's first understand what Mukti is. Mukti is nothing but realizing our own self or recognizing our own self, understanding that we are not the body, mind, and intellect, but pure consciousness. When this understanding happens very crystal clearly, that is called as Mukti. In Mukti, in accordance to Jnana Marga, there are two types of Mukti. One is Jivan Mukti and the other is Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti is when Mukti happens when a person is alive in the body, it's called as Jivan Mukti. Or when the causal ignorance dissolves and the subtle body continues till the prarabdha of the body exists. And Videha Mukti is when both the causal body and the subtle body dissolve simultaneously the moment a person gets Atmajnana. Now, we are all just ordinary householders. We are only grahasthas. So being a grahastha, is it possible for us to drop this raga and dvesha and work in this or be in this world or connect with the people with a tranquil mind? Our scripture says, yes, it's definitely possible. For that, we have to study Vedanta. But studying Vedanta is not an easy one. For that, we have to have clarity and purity of mind. And for this purity of mind, what should we do? For purity of mind, our scriptures prescribes us two types. One is through sannyasa yoga, and the other is through karma yoga. Sannyasa yoga is prescribed mainly for monks, and karma yoga is generally prescribed for grihasthas like you and me, where every action we do it as an offering to the Lord. So these are the two methods. But then, as we do this karma yoga, our chitta shuddhi happens slowly. And as the chitta shuddhi happens, purity of mind happens within us. And when this purity of mind happens, and then we go to study of Vedanta, more clarity happens in our life. And then a Sadguru appears in our life to give us the highest jnana in a simple way. And when all this happens, and purity and clarity both happens together, then it leads us to Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti. But now the question comes. It's said that to get Jivan Mukti, one has to recognize our own self. That also means that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. So when I'm not the body, how can a Jivan Mukti have a body? That question comes. So the answer that is generally given is this explanation that the body continues even after Jivan Mukti is, one person gets a Jivan Mukti, is that it's only told for people who are still in this world, who are stuck in this Maya world. To give them a logical explanation, for them it's given in this way. From the Jnani's point of view, the moment one gets Atma Jnana, it's over for them. There's no other thing. They only see their own self everywhere in the world. So that is why we have this kind of thing called as Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti and all. In short, if we can have a crystal clear understanding of the Mahavakya given by Sri Prabhuji to us, then it will lead us to Jivan Mukti. And what is that Mahavakya? It is Nanu, Nanembudu, Nanalla, Ideha, Manabuddhi, Nanalla, Satchidanandatma, Shivananu Nane, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. It means I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, but I'm pure consciousness. If this understanding happens, then Jivan is possible to have Jivan Mukti. Thank you.
Any questions for Guruma? Indraji was the Purva Pakshi. Do you have any questions?
No, it is all clear, Mamtaji, so nothing.
Okay. Anybody else has any questions? Guess no. Okay. Guruma self-evaluation for this talk.
I couldn't add any stories or anything to this one. No scriptures and all, but yes, as Purnima ji said earlier that even Mahavakya given by Sri Prabhuji is also something like quoted from the scriptures itself. So I think I have covered except for some stories or anything. That's it.
Thank you, Guruma. Purnima ji, want to add anything?
Frankly, I was expecting some insights, leaving how you're living with a Jivan Mukta. Some little incidents, I was looking forward to that. I'm sure it's not easy, for someone to live with someone who doesn't get irritated with anything. Because, I don't know how it is. So I was looking for some stories on that front.
I find it's the most easiest way to live with an enlightened person.
Easy. Okay.
Very
How
easy.
nice. No, you want to scream at that person, but he won't react. I mean, the whole maja of screaming at somebody is, that person has to come into we have to have an argument. That's not happening with an enlightened person.
No, maybe I don't have that much of thing to go and shout or do anything.
I was just joking. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But yes, there's nothing to find any problem with everything that you said. You gave a full picture of how to become a Jivan Mukta. So thank you so much.
In their house, they have two Jivan Muktas.
I know, two Jivan Muktas. I know, true. Maybe 4. Yeah, I know. Because so many of us keep coming through your doors, Mamta ji. There is a room for a lot of friction, but yet if you're smiling through everything, like we know how Prabhuji always laughs and laughs through everything, and you're also always so calm. So yes, like Padmaja said, 2 Jivan Muktas. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruma. Thank you, Purnima ji. So the next speaker is Gayatri ji, who will be talking about Videha Mukti.
I have to put my own timer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my topic is Videha Mukti. So we are today talking about Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. So Vedanta always explains everything from 2 viewpoints. We know that from Ajnani viewpoint and then Adnani viewpoint. I mean the world's viewpoint. So as a sadhaka, which one should we apply? Because all our life we have been living from Adnani's viewpoint only. So for sadhaka, it's the time to shift to Gnani's viewpoint, and because we are end of the day, we are seeking Gnana. So what are the 2 viewpoints? So Videha Mukta, same is the case for Videha Mukta. There are 2 viewpoints here from the Gnani point of view and also the Adnani point of view. So Videha Mukta, the term itself has come into existence because of to explain to a Adnani. Adnani is like, he lives with a body consciousness. So he cannot understand anything beyond body. That's why we have all the gods with bodies. We have superimposed body on them. We have superimposed families on them. We have superimposed children and even fights, everything. So we superimpose everything that we understand, we feel, and we believe. Hence, Adnani feels that Agnani has a Videha Mukti. There is a gap for Agnani. There is a gap between Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Actually, this morning Guruji was mentioning that. So hence all the scriptures are here to give a lot of explanation on how Videha Mukti happens, what happens to the body of the Gnani after he dies, many things like in Brahma Sutras, Brahma Sutra 4.2.15. They say that, all the organs are merged in Supreme Brahman as per scriptures. In Prashna Upanishad, it said that all the 16 organs, I think the subtle body, which came from Panchabhutas has again gone back into the Panchabhutas. And then in Mundaka Upanishad 3.2.6, I don't know exact verse number, where they say, whereas Mundaka Upanishad says all the subtle body, causal body, everything is, merged into Parabrahman only. Same thing. So Brahma Sutras, Upanishads, all these things talk about what happens to the body of the Videha Mukta. So I was actually asking Guruji, why are scriptures telling us from the point of view of Agnani again? So then Guruji said, like, all the scriptures are for Agnani only, because Gnani doesn't need a scripture. So for Agnani, you have to give a lot of explanations, and Agnani cannot understand the Gnani's point of view until he becomes a Gnani. Hence, you have to go through all these things. So then we also know that King Janaka, he named his daughter as Vaidehi, which actually comes from the word Videha. That was also mentioned by Guruji. So King Janaka was called as Videha Janaka. So how, king can function without a body is always a question mark for the Adnani. So that is from the Adnani point of view. Now, from Gnani's point of view, Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti are simultaneous. The moment you understand that you are not the body, that very moment, the idea of being a body drops and using a body starts. Whereas for Adnani, it's like Gnani is the body, but for Gnani, body is like a car for him. He uses the car. Once the Jivan, the ignorance falls down and the realization happens, that very moment the body doesn't exist for a Jivan Mukta. So it's explained as a Videha Mukti or Jivan Mukti. Both is like, it's a destruction of all the karmas, and it's like the space in the pot released from the conditioning, from the enclosing pot. The pot breaks and it's all merged. So there is no pot anymore. So that is the concept of Videha Mukta. So that's all. I think it's. Thank you. I have still 1 more minute. Any questions?
So in Videha Mukti, the person will not have a body, or is it more appropriate to say the identification with body drops? Because for all
See,
practical
actually, he was all the time Videha Mukta only, but he will know that he is Videha when that self-realization happens. So he was never a body before. He's, during realization, he understands that he is not the body. Videha Mukta is a concept actually created for the Adnanis to understand, because you see, the body is moving, functioning is happening, teaching is happening. So he won't understand if we say what is the internal point of view of a Gnani. He can never understand.
Yeah. Yes, Gayatri. Nice points. Thank you. One trivia is Janaka's capital was Videha. His kingdom was Videha and the capital was Mithila.
Wow.
His kingdom was also named as Videha.
Yeah. But his daughter's name is Vaidehi only, right?
Correct. No, correct. I was just added to whatever you said
Videha,
about.
okay.
Yeah, he was the king of Videha. Mithila was the capital. Fine, Gayatri. Very good. Nice points. Thank you for, you gave a lot of clarity also about Jivan Mukta and Videha Mukta. Thank you so much. Anybody has a question for Gayatri? I guess none. Okay. We can move on to the next. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnima ji. So the next speaker is Jayashree ji is not there. Indra ji, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure.
So Indra ji will also be talking about Sthita Prajna Lakshana with reference from Bhagavad Gita. Over to you, Indra ji.
Hari Om all Atma Jyotis. My topic for today is Sthita Prajna.
Wait. Let the timer start.
Okay.
Spotlight and then timer. Okay.
Yeah, my topic for today is Sthita Prajna in reference to the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, shloka number 65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajaayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatishtate. Meaning, by divine grace comes the peace in which all sorrows end, and the intellect of such a person of tranquil mind soon becomes firmly established in God. Grace is a divine that flows into a person's personality. By grace, God, who is Sachidananda, he bestows his divine knowledge, divine bliss, and love. This entrenches the intellect in the love, bliss, and the knowledge of God. So, by God's grace, when we experience the higher taste of the bliss, the agitation for the sensual happiness is extinguished. We repeatedly contemplate on happiness in the external objects, so our mind gets attached to the things what we are more contemplating on. So let us contemplate our happiness in Krishna. So when we revise the thought that the happiness, the ocean of bliss is God, our mind gets attached to it. Now what happens? The object of attachment is pure, so the mind is never gets soiled by it, and it always purifies only. So this attachment purifies the mind, and the more we get attached to this thought, the more the mind purifies. And the only way to conquer mind is to direct our thoughts in the direction of God. So when we develop attachment to God, it leads to desire, and this desire results in anger and greed. So what type of greed will it result to? It will be like, I want more devotion, I want more love. So this divine craving is not binding, it is liberating, and it is elevating. So how will the anger be? So many days of, it will be like, the so many days have gone by, still I'm bereft of the love. So I have to subdue my mind, I have to work to subdue my mind to attain my supreme beloved. So this kind of anger will work for our favor. So the pride will be, Hanuman says, may this pride never go, that I am the servant of such a master and my Lord is Ram. So this pride is for the master and the opportunity to serve him. So to seek happiness is not wrong, but the direction in which we go is wrong. So if we contemplate happiness in the proper place, that is God, then the problem will be solved. Lord Krishna says, these senses are so obdurate. When you fast, it becomes weak. When you eat, it raises its head. So when you make the senses experience the higher rasa of God, they come under control. Once the hankering for the external objects, the sensual objects ceases, one goes beyond all the sufferings and the mind becomes tranquil. In that state of complete fulfillment, the intellect becomes so firm in its decision that Lord God is the only source of happiness, and that is the final goal of the soul. So previously, the intellect was accepting this on basis of the knowledge stated by the scriptures, but now it has experienced the perfect peace and divine bliss. This convinces the intellect beyond any shadow of doubt, and it becomes steadily established in God. Hari Om.
Thank you, Indraji. Purva Pakshi for Indraji is Gayatri ji. Do you have any questions?
Gayatri, do you have any questions?
Anybody else has any questions?
Indra, can you explain in terms of Advaita Vedanta also? This is, in Bhakti you explained.
Okay.
Little, few sentences.
Like the reason now, just we did that meditation, we attached our, the whole our contemplation in God. The bliss, I'm still experiencing it. Like, it is so nice. I just, this is not like, I was just writing it, but now I experience it and I'm still not out of it.
Very nice.
When we
All that experience.
Now we have meditation for half an hour, Sahaj Samadhi. As Guruji taught us the meditation camp. It is fixing our thought and in God, like oneness with God. So when we go step by step, how Guruji taught us, we can feel that real, even before we've done meditation, but that was not, this bliss was never there. I'm still not out of it.
Very nice. You got a glimpse and it's going to
Yeah.
grow. It's just going to grow. That's all. That's the
Yeah,
only
it's
very
a great blessing. It's a great blessing.
blessing. Thank you, Indra. What more can you say? You know, it's a personal experience. So, yeah.
I forgot, like, some points in between. I couldn't recall it only.
Because you're in that bliss state.
Yeah,
Mm. You finished in just 4 minutes. Yeah,
it was very short also. I'm just seeing the time now.
that's okay. Good, happy. You're making all sorts of attempts, practical, theoretical. You're participating in the activity. Great.
All
Yeah.
Guruji's blessing. Imaji.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Indra.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Indraji. Thank you, Purnamaji. Next speaker is Padmaja ji, who will be talking about Sthita Pragna Lakshana again in reference with Bhagavad Gita.
Is that okay?
Yeah, just a minute, Padmaja ji. Gayatri ji, if you can.
Shall I? Oh, okay. Can some? Yeah, started.
Yeah, can start, Padmaja ji.
Hari Om. Actually, my throat is a little out of order, so please bear with me. So I would like to open this session with the story of a Sthita Pragnya, Swami Prabhupada. At the age of 69 years, he traveled to US in a cargo ship on a 35-day journey. He suffered 2 heart attacks. He had a seasickness. He had encountered many difficulties during the 35-day of a journey. Finally, he landed on Boston Harbor. Seeing the skyscrapers, the very tall buildings, the luxurious roads, the cars, everything. The first thing that he said, looking at all this, he said, "Oh Lord Krishna, these people are living in dark. How will I make them understand the message of Krishna consciousness?" Now, this is how a Sthita Prajna looks at things. Any ordinary person would have been, on cloud 9, and they would have really felt, wow, awesome, how lucky I am to be here. But then Sthita Prajna, a person of steady wisdom, intelligence, who has achieved a state of inner stability, inner peace, inner balance, such an individual is, has a different way of looking at things. Is neither disturbed by the ups and downs of life, nor overjoyed by the victories, nor is crushed by the defeats. He or she is the one who has experienced the truth within, truth from within. So now let's go to shloka number, Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 2, chapter 2, shloka number 69. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sayama yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. So the shloka, it says, what everybody considers as day is the night of ignorance for the peace, and what all creatures consider or see the night is the day for the introspective sages. So that is the meaning. Day and night, if you see here, it is not in a literal sense. However, even we can look at it in a literal sense. We see people, party goers and all, they start their life actually at night, 9 o'clock. They'll start the whole night, they'll be dancing and all, going to the pub. They'll come back home by 3:34 or something, and then they sleep. 3:34 is the time when they, as Sthita Prajnas would have got up. For them, the day starts in a literal sense. However, this is not, we shouldn't take it in a literal sense over here. So another story that I would like to, most people also misunderstand the shloka. So I would like to just tell the story of, I don't know how many of you know, the story of Sri Khade Baba, also called as, his actual name is Sridhar Das. He is a person, he's a sadhu who hasn't slept for the past 43 years. He's called Khade Baba because he's been standing, in a standing position for the past 43 years. He hasn't taken food for the past 43 years. I don't know if you Google about Sri Khade Baba, you will, know. And if someone asks him, why is he doing all this? He actually quotes this shloka. And he says that, people cannot understand me. But I feel it's a misunderstanding of the shloka because by standing in such a, for so many years, his legs have been, swollen. He's got a lot of bruises. It's a very bad condition. But he thinks that he's doing an austerity. So let's look at the real meaning of Sri Krishna consciousness. So we have two kinds of people. One, the materialist, and the other one is spiritual. One who is self-realized or spiritual. So when we are in deep sleep, it's difficult to understand what's happening around us. And materialists always feel, looking at the self-realized, they say, these guys are not enjoying the life. And for them, the purpose of life is to enjoy. But that's why the perspective of a self-realized person, cannot be understood by a materialist. However, the materialistic perspective is known by the self-realized person, but then even after knowing it, he keeps a safe distance from that, and he is disinterested towards all this. So people, does it mean that a spiritual self-realized person doesn't feed his senses? He will do whatever is required to keep his body in shape, but he will not get attached to it. His body, mind, intellect will be used as a vehicle to do something good for the society. So that's all about it.
Thank you, Padmajaji. Any questions for Padmajaji? Purva Pakshi is Guruma. Any questions, Guruma?
No questions, but it was brought out very well with the starting of Sri Prabhupada's this thing, and how the jnani and how any sloka can be interpreted in a wrong way. Everything was brought out beautifully, and I have no questions for you.
Thank you, Guruma. Anybody else has any questions?
Self-evaluation?
I didn't do much of preparation for this, and my throat is also pretty bad. So I think whatever I could gather, and I just put it across. I think 2 stories I wanted to put it everything because those stories really interested me. Swami Prabhupada's way of looking at. I didn't know he suffered 2 heart attacks while this 35-day of a journey in a ship. So I think overall it is okay.
And also Prabhupada was quite aged by that time. He was not
69
a
years. 69 is kind of, people have retired and it's like done. He started at that time to go to US and, teach
Actually, the first sentence you said, no, when Prabhupada saw the skyscrapers of Boston, he said, all these people are living in the dark. That is the meaning of the shloka that you, Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam. They are all having a party, they are all having a good time, with absolutely no idea of Krishna consciousness. That is the meaning of the shloka. There began and there ended your actually your explanation, Yeah, that was just perfect. That they don't know. That is the status of most of us. That is what the message is. Thank you, Padmaja. Despite your bad throat, you came and you have given us some beautiful insights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Padmajaji. Thank you, Purnamaji. So we are done with today's session. Any more concluding comments from anyone? Okay.
Next session ka date.
Okay, just a moment. I'll stop the
Second week.